Early. Hello and oh, do you know what? After last week, where I went so well,
it was amazing.
I didn't even get through one word this week.
You're going backwards, my friend.
Oh, at a rate of knots.
Knots.
This show is called "Is There Something in This?" Do you know what? You probably know it.
Well,
The chances of you being like. This isn't like a radio show where you're flicking around and you're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, right. You don't have to
Isn't that one of the
reset or something?
Isn't that one of the great tropes of a movie? Whenever you're driving along, you just get straight. You just change the channel at the very beginning of the mic break.
Totally. Yeah. That's kind of. I think that's one of those great TV. It's TVtropes.com. That's right up there as one of the top ones.
The Max Smart always a car park right out the front.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah. I've been watching.
Which I understand. Like, I understand people get angry at that.
Yeah.
But, like, wouldn't it be boring if Max was like, it's got to be actually 99. Can you just wait in the car? I'll run up and see what the chief wants.
Just keep the engine running.
But, Max, it's alternate side. You know, I know.
It's street cleaning today. That is true. I do love it. I love a good movie trope. I love a good action movie trope. Anything with
you're off the case, kind of.
Yeah. A lot of like bad cop kind of situation where they're like an angry police chief, and the cop because. And I think we've even
Grizzled
pitched detective because I just finished Sharp Objects.
Oh, okay. I'm on it. I hate it.
Wow.
But I'm forcing myself to watch it.
I love how definitive your opinions on such shows are. Because you were asking me 2 episodes in, are you watching this? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
You were uncertain.
I
And
was
now,
uncertain.
the jury has deliberated.
I don't
You hate
like
it.
being manipulated so...
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was to ever pay for sex,
Yes.
it would be we're going out for dinner, maybe to go to a game, and then, I didn't expect this to happen.
Okay.
I couldn't be like cash up front, no kissing. I could never be that guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I need respect the dance, Sharp Objects.
Sure.
Whereas they're having flashbacks. And like that's the thing, the flashbacks are just people getting stabbed.
That is
and
true.
her finding bodies in bathtubs and...
They're not good flashbacks.
Don't go to hunting cabin in the woods. Don't go there. Like, this is...
But, okay, so this show, Sharp Objects, is based on a book, and they've really stretched it out. I think they did like 7 episodes already.
I saw one criticism, which was this would have been a great movie.
Yeah, it felt like a movie.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been a really, really cool...
Isn't Amy Adams great?
I mean...
In everything. Like,
she's a film actress.
Always good.
I've
Even
never
when
seen her do anything bad.
Cameoed in The Office. She fucking nailed that character. She is just always great.
She's always great. The ending is a surprise ending. There's a big twist at the end, of course.
Right.
And it's
Now
done...
you've said this, you've ruined it for me.
That's what I mean.
Because
I'm meaning to ruin it for you.
But this is the...
Yeah. Now you're going to have to watch it.
My surprise twist...
Mm-hmm.
Anything short of it was the ghost of Nixon. Like, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
Wouldn't that be fucking amazing if it was
man.
the ghost of Richard Nixon?
Wouldn't it be if that was how? But wouldn't it be amazing if that was how HBO finished 10 of their shows?
Right.
Like Westworld.
I'm not a crook. Wow.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the Ice King or whatever. That
The
turns
special
out to be
The
Nixon.
Sopranos movie.
Oh my God.
I killed Soprano. Him and his cronies.
And then he gets into a helicopter and flies away.
Yeah, flies away.
In every one of them.
That's how every single HBO show ends. Is Nixon getting into a chopper and just flying off. And they track it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, with the credits.
And they play an instrumental version of Suicide is Painless. So you're like, what is this, MASH now?
Perfect. I like that you didn't call it the theme from MASH. You called it Suicide is Painless.
Well,
There's a
I'm
great Paul
very
Desmond
pretentious.
cover. You are, indeed. No, but the thing is, you would make a diabolical executive producer or director of some kind at HBO.
How so?
You would insist that all of them end that way.
Yeah.
Or some absurd thing that if you tracked it back over the period of 2016 to 19, you look at them all and go, why was Nixon in all of these?
What a Nixon talk.
That's the Dooley stamp.
And but me thinking it's a metaphor.
Yeah,
I'm much more clever than you are. Hey, let me ask you something. Could I wear a leather jacket?
Oh my God. Have you been bugging my house? So Sophie has been going around polling people saying, could I wear a leather jacket? Because it's a really big, some people absolutely can't pull it off.
There's a photo of me in a leather jacket.
Scott's showing me a photo on his phone of a leather jacket. Now it's black.
Yeah.
What does Ashika think? She's the fashionista.
She's like, it looks good. It does look good on
Yeah,
me. But I spoke to Kim,
fits.
who is the coolest person, like he's Fashion Kim.
Yeah.
And he is like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You have to believe in it. You can't be on the fence with the leather jacket.
1,000%. You have to own it, and you have to look like you belong in a leather jacket.
And as you know, with me, I am. This may surprise some people. I'm very sensitive. I don't like joking around. I don't like busting balls.
Whoa! Wait a second.
No, but I don't. I don't.
This is
like
all a
that.
revelation.
I've never liked that.
Yeah.
Someone like if I do a joke on Twitter and then someone goes, it's a bit much, I block them. We're not friends.
Wow.
Don't do this thing where you like tease my comedy. Don't do that. We're not friends.
Yeah, wow.
Just, if you don't like it, unfollow me. Don't tell me why.
But
I don't need to know.
everyone wants to tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's so what I'm trying to get at is if I buy this, I will think I'm so cool. The first person that goes, "Hey Fonzie, I'll never wear it again. I'll never ever." It'll cost me.
He won't even have to
thousands of dollars.
You won't even have to finish the word Fonzie.
if
You'll
I hear-
already have taken it off.
If I could be near someone named Arthur, and I'm like, that's an Arthur Fonzarelli reference. Thank you. See you later.
Like, fuck, Jules has jumped the shark. That's
it. I'm out.
It's like it's on fire. You'd get it off so quickly.
It will absolutely. It may as well be a clan hood. Like I couldn't get it
God.
off quick enough.
Oh, wow.
What?
Well,
I had no idea.
So last night we were at dinner with some friends and Sophie brought up the leather jacket conversation again.
Oh, okay.
She's like,
what's her take? For you
for
or for her?
I don't think I could pull one off. I'm not Jim Jeffries. but-
Women have, it's a lower threshold for women. It's the same, but it's...
But some of them can't pull it off.
That's
Some of
right.
them.
Well, you can look a bit like Pinky Tuscadero.
Very specific reference. So she polled her
very
friends.
Happy Days heavy
It's a
episode.
very happy. We should just call this episode Happy Days. It was a question she asked her friend, and she was like, "All right, I've already got some poll results in, but I need you as the deciding vote. Can I pull off a
Which
leather
is amazing
jacket?"
because polls in Western Australia often close later.
The consensus was yes. So now we're going to Amsterdam and Paris this week, and she's going to buy one in Paris.
Good.
So she's going to be shopping around outside
You always
of
go
here.
a bit more adventurous when you're somewhere else.
That's exactly the
Yeah.
point. That's exactly what she's thinking. She can't get up the guts to buy it here, but if she's
It's a
over
bit
in
real
Europe,
here. Yeah.
it's almost like she's out of her own world.
I smoke in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
So much so.
It's a very
so
like.
much, but I smoke during the day. I smoke here when I'm drunk,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I smoke there like during
Yeah.
the day. I'll
Yeah,
go and have a glass of wine and have a cigarette.
I walk around with cigarillos when I'm in Paris. I literally walk the streets smoking cigarillos. Can you imagine me? And I'm always on my own too. It's not like I'm socially smoking. I'm just on my own.
You know,
walking along the
we knew
Seine.
you were alone when you said cigarillos. No one's surrounded by friends.
Let's have a cigarillo party, shall we?
Oh,
I'll just meet you at the Louvre. I think I'll meet you there.
Killer a till. I gotta fuck off.
Imagine me just strolling down the Seine with a cigarillo and
I
a
could think of
and
nothing.
a beret.
I could think of nothing more rusty Griswold in European vacation.
sketching the lights and the Eiffel Tower.
Hey, so it's when we're recording this, it's the Sunday before Labor Day. So
Yeah.
I've gone out and had
White.
a bit of a brunch.
You're wearing white.
And I'm wearing white. We're having a few, so it could get a bit loosey-goosey. So I kind of want to get my ideas out before I get a bit.
Speaking
your
of
father?
which, I had a gig on Tuesday and you came along.
I came along.
We went out for beers afterwards.
Yeah.
Had a couple, and you came up with some crackers.
Oh, that's right. When we were joking around.
Yeah, and I worried that you'd forget them.
Which I have. But this was a throwback to the genesis of this podcast, which was you and I at a bar.
Yeah, just
and we
having-
just kind of kick around some ideas.
Yeah.
It was never
There was
that formal. We'd never really
Right.
wrote anything down.
No, we were just
and I
kinda
feel like
bouncing around,
there's
yeah.
some lost gold at the Garret in
I'd say
Alphabet
it's
City.
bronze at best at the Garret. We were warming up. I think we were taking a running jump. And there's some sparse
lost
chips of
titanium.
bronze. Maybe some
All right, so
cubic
what were the
zirconia.
ideas?
So yeah, you came up with a couple of great ones. One was having the... and I think you immediately doubted yourself that, maybe it's been done. But it was the guy on the date with a girl and or just, you know, any two people on a date and having the skip forward or skip back logo on their forehead.
Like in the podcast, yeah.
Like in the podcast apps. Like, so...
Because we were sitting next to a couple that was having a pretty obvious date.
Yeah. Very, very obvious Tinder date. And we're like, picturing those very ubiquitous, like, backwards circle arrow, 30 seconds, go back to... can we just skip through this part?
You said, what about women's reproductive rights? I just want to hear that again. That kinda...
Did you get that, guys? Did you get that? Yeah, so that I actually quite like that as an idea.
How would you see that, though?
It would be a date at a table, at a restaurant, you know, dinner table kind of thing. And it would probably be either over the shoulder, I think, of one of them, looking at the other one with the thing. Maybe it's either on their chest or their forehead or something. Maybe it's either floating either side of them. The 30 seconds forward, 30 seconds back, just in the air. Like.
This is a classic kind of. It's an idea. But, like, you have to figure it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
visually...
not... We've had a couple of them...
Yeah, where it's the
where
execution.
It's been, like, the execution is just... It's a real high wire act.
And I never throw them out if they don't work first time around. I'm like, I want to take another run at this. I want to see if there's another angle.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. I think that's a circular,
That was one of your great... And then the other one that you threw out, which is great, was these... You know, Medal of Honor, Purple Heart, all that sort of stuff for eating sushi on a Monday after a blizzard.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
a good winter cartoon.
Great winter cartoon. And I must say, I'm starting to write more fall and winter cartoons now.
Me too. I've got a couple for you.
Yeah. They're really like, because I can't wait.
I just bought a jacket today.
You bought a jacket?
Yeah, like, do you know what? I got a classic...
Not a leather jacket.
I'll show you the jacket. I'll show you I'm going to put it on just one sec.
Well, so the fall, I love... And I'm calling it fall because we're here. It's autumn, but it's fall. It's my favorite season because not too hot, not too cold. Are you doing the blazer with the shirt under it? Look, is this what you're doing?
Do you know what this is? I mean, it's a bit Ronnie Chang.
Is it
I'll
tailored?
give you that. It's not tailored. I've just got a wonderful body.
Yeah.
Do you know what
it's
this?
Good. It's a
do you
good
know
look.
what this jacket is? This is. Hey, we're going to have a steak in the East Village. And you've got no idea what the dress code is. So you can take this off.
Totally. You can just take it off and hang it over the chair if it's cash. Yeah. Or if it's like Mamafuku, you're like, oh, good. All right.
Cool. So what, we're eating in the boxing ring? What the fuck is this place? Why is there graffiti? Good. Steak's $98. So I should wear,
Anyone who watched the show that I was on called Doodle Wars, I was wearing a jacket, a tailored blazer that I got made, like a sport coat, with a T-shirt, and that's been my look on stage for a long time. My first gig was, I thought comedians wore shirts with blazers. That's what I thought comedians
like
dressed
a T-shirt and a blazer.
Yeah. And I stopped for a while and just, went with the regular old whatever T-shirt and jeans. And then one day I rode from your house after the pod to
you had to do Dangerfields?
Dangerfields, and I was wearing shorts. And Ryan Reese, he's been a host at the Comedy Cell over the last 3 years.
Right.
He and I were back to back, and he walked in the same time as me, and he goes, "Oh, you're not serious." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Really? Shorts on stage?" He's like...
Oh, the classic Tommy Dassolo philosophical conversation.
Right. So I was really like...
You don't wear shorts on stage?
You don't, and I never have before, never will again. It was like a one-off, and he's like, "I'll never let you forget this." So then this time around,
I've worn shorts on stage once.
You have?
It was at an outdoor music festival.
It doesn't matter. No one needs to see your hairy stems, mate. It's not comedy.
I agree. I do agree. I don't have a leg to stand on.
So this last Sunday, I went to the Cell. I did a spot, and Ryan was hosting. It was at the show. He was headlining, and I show up with the blazer. And I had a Duran Duran T-shirt and jeans. And he goes...
so the kids know you're cool.
And he goes, "Chatfield, you're either you're the most underdressed comedian in the room or the most overdressed." Like, how much... Do you just want to trumpet, "Hello, everyone, I'm a comedian"?
Like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny when he wears the suit with the tail. He wears the morning suit.
That's exactly right. And he goes, you just find a middle ground somewhere.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of girls there from Perth. So he's like, "Oh, yeah, here he is now." Like he'd been saying, "Oh, yeah, there's an Australian comedian on the show tonight." And he said to them, "Oh, here he is now." And they're like, "Oh, did you just come from dinner or something?"
Oh, great.
Like, "No,
That's
I
great.
came from home. I'm doing a show."
Yeah, this is how I look.
They made fun. They just, they couldn't just let me be a blazer man. Anyway, went around the corner afterwards and someone had dropped in.
we talked about this, Louis C.K.? We talked about this last week, didn't we?
We didn't. We just mentioned.
Did we just talk about it?
It was Sunday night when we recorded the podcast that he dropped in.
Oh, that he dropped in.
After the show I did that night, last Sunday.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of this.
And then I walked around the corner and spoke to Attell and Steve. Steve
yeah.
Fabricant, and they showed me photos and were like, yeah, you just missed Louie. He was just on 2 seconds ago, and here's what he talked about, and yeah, it was
But
it was
you know
very
what's
odd.
very interesting, though, is that it didn't break until Tuesday.
That's right.
I found that really weird.
I posted it on Twitter, and then I took it off immediately because I was like, I don't want people contacting me about this. And also just, I'll leave it. You know, no one needs to. And then Tuesday it really hit.
I've got a philosophical one for you. This guy
Okay.
I know, one of his buddies had an animated show on Netflix.
Okay.
Louie did a spot on it. He was like he had a small bit part where he was the policeman or something.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that did the show went back and re-recorded all Louie's parts and no more Louie on it.
What?
And I was like, said it to me, this guy said it to me like, so, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's like, that's the dumbest thing
That is the dumbest
ever heard in my
thing,
life.
yeah.
Like,
I agree with you.
and don't take this wrong, I in no way am supporting him or what he's
that's not
done or
what that
anything.
is. No,
but
no.
this
No,
kind
you
of
have to say that, though, yeah.
revisionist, I mean, you shouldn't have to say it.
Yeah.
But this revisionist kind of, you did a show with him.
Yeah.
It was fun. You did it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't go back now and
be like,
erase.
I've always said he was an arsehole. No, you didn't,
No, you
mate.
didn't, because you cast him and you paid him.
You paid him?
Yeah. That's too far to
That's
me.
but this my buddy was like, I think it's really cool that he did that. I was like, look, it's his show, he can do what he wants, but
Yeah,
he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
right, so
Anyway,
I got
all
some
right, let's
jokes
keep
for you.
going.
I got
Let's
some
keep going.
jokes.
Jokes.
All right.
All right, what do you got?
So this one it's quite a Dimitri Martin gag.
Okay, all right. Is it a graph involved?
It's a graph.
A chart? Okay, got it.
X and Y axis. Hilarity of socks versus hilarity of person wearing them. most hilarious, and just like
It's all dads.
It's just
It's all dads.
just yeah.
Socks versus personality.
Socks versus
Socks versus hilarity or...
hilarity. I've got hilarity of socks or coffee mug or tie or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the
No, I think socks is good. Socks is funny.
and then the horizontal axis is hilarity of person. And
Personality or person wearing socks?
then person.
Yeah, person. Okay. Hilarity of dad wearing them.
Or maybe
No, but yeah.
maybe it's not even a shot at the person wearing it. Maybe it's just actual hilarity. So it's like, this is hilarious for a sock.
Yeah.
This is very funny.
Yes.
But in reality,
This is a very Liana Fink joke, I think, as well.
Oh, is it?
She does a lot of these graphs as they pertain to all kinds of things. It's very simple and clear.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought we've never done that kind of
No,
thing.
we haven't. In fact, I'd like to do one because there's no drawing involved for me.
I've got a few. I've kind of gone a bit themey this week.
Okay, all right. Good on
These
you.
have probably all been done.
Okay.
And we do need someone. Oh, so if you're going to be in New York City in mid-October,
Yeah.
we're going to be doing a live show.
Yeah,
We're going to
so-
tell you where. We're about to do a huge bar crawl to kind of find
Yeah.
the spot.
Yeah. That's the official story anyway.
Well, no, the official story is looking for.
Yeah, we're looking for venues. Basically, put your funny socks on and your leather jackets and get ready to come out mid-October. If you have already been DM'd by me or DM'd me about it, then we've updated you on it. But please DM me on Instagram at Jason Chatfield if you're interested in coming to the live show in October, and I will send you directly details.
Yeah, because the first one's going to be very small. So
Yeah.
tickets are going to be kind of at a premium.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guest is a
Very special.
very special guest, friend of the show, lovely guy. Or gal. Okay, these may have been done. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. For the podcast, because
Yeah.
we always do this, has this been done?
Yeah.
And every time one of us bumps into Ellis Rosen, who we
he's-
talk about constantly, he's always
Yeah.
like, oh, That was a Joe Data cartoon.
And he is an encyclopedia.
He's an encyclopedia. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can get Ellis just to sit and be like, hey, has this been done?
He's our fact checker.
He's the fact checker.
Off to the side, just give him a mic and be like, has this been done, Ellis? And he'll be like, yeah, 1997,
Exactly.
Gary Larson, yeah.
And this is the other thing I really like.
So funny.
Changing his name from Ellis J. Rosen to Ellis Facts Rosen. Just for us. Because it feels like, and now it feels like an 80s kind of teen caper film where it's like, run the numbers, facts. And he's like, guys, we can't do it. I'm like, no.
So he said to me this week, he goes, because he always listens to the show, and thank you for listening, Ellis.
He's trying to figure out how to screw us for royalties. We mentioned him so often.
Yeah, because he said he really is our has it been done fact checker. And
He is.
He said the fish gangster joke that we discussed. You know,
The Gary Larson one, yeah.
Yeah, we
With quite
found a
wordy
Gary
caption,
Larson,
right?
very verbose.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, actually, it was not only done by Gary Larson, it was also done in The New Yorker, but with balloons by Zachary Kanan.
Which I think was your initial
Yeah,
thought,
I wanted to put a
wasn't it?
balloon on him.
Balloons.
Yeah, and him float to the surface. And they were like, no, I swear I didn't say anything. Oh, didn't say nothing. He sort of agreed that the Larson one is a very long title. But yeah, he was like, I love listening to it and then going, yep, it's been done.
Yeah.
It's been done. That one's been done. Yep, I know how to do that one.
It must be so. It's like when you hear someone be like,
Yeah.
you know, when you know the answer to someone, you hear someone going, oh. You only hear it on podcasts and occasionally on radio, but the thing of what was the name of the bass player for the Sex Pistols before Sid Vicious? And then they just circle this weird 70s. I know it wasn't Stuart Copeland. He was in the Police. It were Joey Ramone. That was the Ramones. And you're just screaming, Glenn Matlock. That must be
Matlock.
So these Ellis will have a conniption now.
Absolutely.
So I apologise.
Is this a trigger warning for Ellis?
What it is.
Okay.
Why did the chicken cross the road? So I was thinking like a press conference or the chickens being door stopped, by the press.
Yeah.
And the press is saying, the question everyone has, why? It's not bad.
Why
right?
did you do it?
Why?
Just why?
And he's kind of like,
he's like,
no more questions.
Pushing away the press.
The classic PE teacher caught in an affair, we're in love, kind of that look.
Yeah. That's I'm trying to picture it. It's more like for whatever reason I'm picturing a UK celebrity like a Lily Allen type, sort of like surrounded by paparazzi,
using a
media.
jacket, but you're using the wing to cover itself.
Yeah. We just want to know why. Everyone wants to know just one question: why? And it's chicken. Is he? Yeah, and he's clearly just he just crossed the road.
Or it's a chicken on a date, and the date is saying, "I just have to know why."
What if it's the date saying, I just need to know who came first?
Oh, that's better.
No, it's not.
I don't mind that.
Alice is going to be in raptures going, oh, I can tell you both been done.
This isn't a good joke.
Okay,
but
that's a good premise.
I've just wrote this down because I was just writing down a bunch of ideas. There's a bunch of hurricanes happening in the States at the moment.
That's right.
And there's always, at this time of the year, a profile of, they look like normal people, but Tiffany and Tom are a little different than most couples. They're storm chasers. Aren't you a little short to be a storm chaser?
That's pretty good.
So I've got a few tennis jokes because the US Open's on.
Yes, the Open, yeah. Okay.
I noticed Kyrgios, before he dropped his bundle in the second set against Federer, kept getting the towel. They were always grabbing a towel from the towel.
Yeah.
Is there something in someone bringing a hot towel, like at a restaurant, to the player with the tongs?
That's not fair. That's so silly.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, okay.
This is the one I like the most of the tennis cartoons.
Yeah.
Player talking to an umpire, like there's a big crowd. I have commitment issues, so can we just say like?
Hang on, dial it back for a second. I have a very small brain.
40 love.
Oh, got it. Okay.
To me, I think that's the sign of a good...
Totally. It took me a second. I think my brain was going in another direction, and then when you did the misdirect, I was still going in the other direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so like instead of love. Yeah, okay.
Initially, the joke was instead of love, but I thought it was just spoon feeding it too much.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, there's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah, okay. All right. Nice.
Then this one, I like this, but
You love this?
I don't love this.
All right.
Umpire, the umpires have the microphones making an announcement. And the caption is, "We're being held momentarily by the train's dispatcher." Just kidding, folks. It was out. I like the idea of there's something about someone trying to be funny.
Yeah. and everyone just looking
and it being like a serious, this is the US Open.
Yeah.
And just trying some gear
he's
on
like,
center court.
He's just trying to be a funny little man. I like the idea of him sitting up in that box.
Up on the umpire's chair.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everyone around him just wincing, just going, that was terrible.
Yeah.
This guy sucks.
He's doing his train gear. I hate this.
A friend of mine, you know her, Jill Wiener. She books that great lap dance saloon show.
Yeah.
She was at the Open today, and they got her on the camera. And look at the bloke next to her. Describe him for our listeners. the guy sitting next to her.
Oh my God.
Some guy, yeah.
He looks like, to quote my best friend, who there was a photo of this big fat guy that had killed a lion,
Oh, okay.
and he called him Marga the Hutt. And that's what this guy looks like. Make America great again, the Hutt.
He's got white hair, big fat guy, ruddy pink face.
Yeah.
Looks completely just gormless, sort of full.
Gold chain.
But he looks like he's had a couple.
He's had a couple.
You know when they take the camera to George eating the ice cream?
I was just thinking that. Great.
It's like that moment.
Yeah.
And his expression is ridiculous. It's very funny. Anyway.
People looking at the great seats because the seats are so expensive at the US Open, going, they can afford it because that whole section's stabilized.
Oh, seat
There's
stabilized.
something in that which I know that you will like, but I can't quite get the wording properly.
What if it's, are you kidding me? These seats are so expensive because we get a great view of those seats.
That's not bad.
Like seats being expensive because they have a perfect view of the best seats. That's in New York, people want to have an apartment next to really great apartments. You can afford.
That's the joke.
Yeah, okay. There's something there.
That's the kind of renty kind of.
Yeah. Right. I like that. I like seat stabilized isn't bad too.
Man on his deathbed.
Righto.
I wish I told my son I loved his Instagram aesthetic.
I wish I told my son I liked him. I wish, There's a lot of deathbed cartoons.
I know.
Good ones.
I'm kind of I'm on the fence about that.
No, it's not outright throw it out. It's pretty good.
Heaven, the pavilion.
Okay.
Life's Big Questions pavilion. And there's all these different booths.
Okay.
And the booths are you go there and get the answers. So one of them is why, how, where are my pets, what was Donnie Darko really about? Or something more updated.
What was up with the twist at the end of Sharp Objects?
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Some really specific life
Just very,
mysteries. I like it. They get more specific as they go along.
Are they all robots in Westworld? Shit like that. Imagine getting to heaven and asking, going, wait, were they all puppets in Dark Crystal?
Dark Crystal reference.
Cuffing season jokes.
Yeah, now we talked about this last week.
We talked about this, so I've got a few.
Okay, great.
A guy getting arrested, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you do, say, or text may be held against you as evidence you're in a relationship. It's a bit literal.
It's okay. It's literal, but it uses the exact vernacular, which I like.
This is the joke for me. This is the joke. Couple getting married. Do you agree to take this man for as long as the weather is bad and he has multiple streaming options?
That's not bad. Is that a term that's used often enough for?
Well, the thing is, I wanted to avoid the one that I had, which I kind of didn't even bother pitching because we can't use product.
You're not allowed to use specific products.
Is the form saying do you have Netflix, Hulu, HBO?
Right,
That's the big three.
It is the big three.
If you land that for winter, forget it.
Is it? What are the three things? Will you take this man through blah blah good health? And you should know this. You should know it's coming
You're
up.
married.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah, no. Love, sickness, health, for as long as you both may live.
Maybe there's something
in
through Game of Thrones and
Hulu and Netflix, as long as you both may stream. Hulu, Netflix. Yeah. Okay.
To me, that
so
was
hard not to say the thing.
The joke. Yeah, that's why I kind of... Anyway, and now this is the last one.
Okay. Jesus,
a waiter
great.
talking to another waiter.
Okay.
There's a table of 4 eating brunch.
Yeah.
And this may have been done,
Okay.
but the first waiter saying to the second waiter, saying, "Quick now, their mouths are full. Ask them what they think of the food."
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I hate that. So it's every time. Are they trained to do it? Are they trained? There's two things they do, and I'm incensed every time.
You really
This
riled
really
up
animated me. Okay, so my whole family is in the hospitality industry, so service is a big thing, and when a waiter comes up, when you've just shoveled an entire mouthful of food, and go, "Everything okay? Is everything?" It's the worst possible. It's always the worst possible time. You're like, I'm sure, and you've got a mouthful of food. The other one is when you're at the penultimate part of a story. You're just about to drop the punchline or the final bit of the story, and that's when they come up and go, "Is everything okay here?"
I had that
I
when
hate
I worked at a radio station in Sydney, Australia, called Nova, and it was quite a high-profile job actually.
Nova?
Yeah, there were billboards and things like that. Anyway, they gave us the flick halfway through the year, so we went out for this team lunch, which was kind of the farewell lunch, and I didn't really. We went out for this lunch with the team, and so I was literally saying, "Guys, I appreciate this is a bit of a weird situation. I just want to say I appreciate working with all of." I was in the middle of my kind of farewell speech, and I'm just going to tell you about the specials. I was like, "Are you?"
Oh, wow.
And she'd stood there and heard it. She knew who I was when I walked in. She was like, "Hey, how you going? Can I?" And
I think they're doing it on purpose.
And they waited.
I think it's a thing. They all do. As soon they wait for the most inopportune time to come in and go, "Everything, can I get you any water? Everyone okay? Are we okay for drinks?"
Yeah.
And look, I appreciate good service, but that's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
That is annoying.
Yeah.
Now, what was
these are the first worldiest problems as well. The people waiting on us don't know a sense of occasion.
Timing is everything in comedy, and I'm very passionate about it.
And also, I want you to notice my Toga jokes at the bottom.
Oh!
None.
This is a running theme now.
It's empty.
It's like the Matt Damon being a guest on Kimmel. We're going to have a segment every week of Toga jokes, and neither of us have written any. We're just going to defer it every week. I totally forgot as well.
Yeah, I forgot.
That's amazing.
Okay, so
I
they're
love
my
that.
jokes.
That's great. Wow, what a prolific week you've had of jokes. You've been sitting writing.
Here's the thing. Anyone can be prolific.
Sure.
Be good. Yeah, I'm prolific. Were any of these going to work?
I think that's part of being good is, like David Cypress had 25 years of rejection before he got bought by the New Yorker. And then also...
Hey, sounds like me and sex. Am I right up here, fellas?
There we go. And every week we go in with a batch of 8 to 10 cartoons, and then maybe we'll sell one every once in a while. It's not... It's a game of numbers. It's a game of volume, and then having to be consistent, trying to be consistently good.
It's the... baseball batsman.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's your batting average.
The best guy is what, 300?
Right. He's
which
batting
means
300.
he fucks up 7 times.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's what I love about baseball. I love that it's a numbers game.
That's why I hate it, because it rewards failure. If there was a surgeon that killed 7 out of 10 patients...
Oh my God. But he's the best surgeon.
And he's the best
The greatest
guy.
surgeon. They pay him so much
Even
money.
in medieval times, that's a bad strike rate.
Right. Can I do some honourable mentions this week to the New Yorker? Is that something I'm allowed to do?
I have no idea what this means,
Well,
so go for it.
in the magazine this week, there were some ones that I really enjoyed.
Oh, some good jokes. Oh, yeah. Tell me.
David Cypress did one of Atlas holding the world, but going, "Oh, don't be such a martyr. At least let me carry the groceries." That's pretty good, right? That's a good gag.
That's
and then,
very good.
An old grandpa took into his granddaughter. They're fishing in a little rowing boat, and he goes, "Well, there I go again, telling stories that make you an accessory after the fact."
I like that. That's a nice joke.
And you and I were talking about Hell's Waiting Room and all these things, all these faux pas that you can make. Like the clapping before the end of the solo was a big one.
Yeah.
And Julius Suits has actually done a really good one, which is this guy at the orchestra, at the Met or something.
Yeah.
Saying, as if your first clapping faux pas wasn't egregious enough, and the light.
Oh,
from
he's
his
all lit
phone,
up from his phone. That's great.
The clapping faux pas. So that's a thing. The clapping faux pas.
That's good.
And then lastly is Liana Fink. It's the hamster. He's finally upside down on the top of the hamster wheel, going, "I did it!"
Oh,
That's what they're
yeah.
always presumably wanting to get to.
That happens quite regularly, though.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
if
but
they
spin
stop,
around,
if they stop
though.
running, they spin around.
Yeah, but they don't they're not on the top and stopped.
Right.
That's presumably what they're trying to get to.
That's fantastic.
And they never do. Okay, and also we had a suggestion from. Thank you.
I'm
for
sensing
our
you're a bit
listeners.
thin this week.
I'm thin.
You're doing a lot of padding.
Yeah.
To the point where you're reading other people's published cartoons in lieu of your own pictures.
You've got me. You've got me.
You have
You've
nothing.
pegged me. You've pegged me. You're prolific this week. It always happens when you're thin.
It's one up.
When you're prolific, I've got
Yeah.
nothing. And you're quite right. I'm a little bit thin this week. Well spotted.
I mean, there's padding and there's reading published
other
cartoons
people's
on a podcast.
One of our listeners actually said how the
We're
airplane.
we're just taking emails. Chatfield has nothing.
Chatto is a hacker. Where we said, I'll put my phone in airplane mode when you put this plane in airplane mode.
I like that.
Now
joke.
we pitched it to the New Yorker, and they kept it aside, but then also made some suggestions on how to make it better. And I
Yeah.
won't go into those because I do want to repitch it
Yeah,
with the better suggestions. But one of our readers actually said, more people I think call it flight mode than airplane mode. The technical term on the phone itself is called airplane mode, but when they say the announcement over the air, I think it's flight mode. Please put your devices into flight mode.
You can tell us in 12 hours when you get on a plane.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to listen out for what the announcement says on Iceland Air or whatever.
Yeah.
I am going to
Saga
go for
class?
the Saga
Yeah,
class.
yeah,
Yeah,
Saga class.
good
It's
tip. Okay, so...
Are you staying in Reykjavik at all?
No, I wish. I really, really want to, but it's just a stopover. I've got some mates who are going there next week.
You can stop over for 7 days.
I know. That's a vacation, mate. That's called a vacation.
Yeah, and then you can go on to the next. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the Icelandic tourism. Iceland's biggest thing now is tourism. But here's the problem: Iceland is easily the most expensive place in the world.
Insane. Yeah,
It is
absurd.
mental.
Once again, you're like, oh, do you hate money, right?
It's-
Go to Iceland.
It was. This is how expensive it was. I noticed how much shit cost. I never
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
how
yeah.
much shit cost. I'm
You
just one of these idiots.
Yeah.
Ashika does because she's smart.
Sure.
I don't because I'm dumb.
You're an 8-year-old.
I'm an 8-year-old.
Yeah. The mates we were having dinner with last night, they're going there next week for like a week. And I'm like, a week? That sounds fun. They're like, yeah, we're budgeting for it. I'm like, I don't know what
I
that
bet.
means.
Yeah.
So now I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got like special clothes for it.
A friend of mine, who will remain nameless, is a professional athlete.
Okay.
He earns a lot of money. He messaged me and said, seriously, dude, just watch out. It's fucking expensive. I have never heard him.
Wow.
He nearly flew. He nearly flew to New York to watch a game of football with me on television. That's how much money he has from another country.
That is amazing.
And he was like,
Wow.
dude, seriously, it's very expensive.
This guy, he's the guy who's like, just get a Mercedes. That's the same guy.
That's the guy. That's the guy.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
So I am only stopping over in Iceland very, very briefly, and then I'm going to be in Amsterdam
Hang
for a
on
few
to
days.
Get a money belt just for the stopover. Get a money belt.
money belt. I haven't had a money belt.
Wasn't that the classic? Yeah.
Everyone had a money belt back in the 90s.
Travelers checks.
Travelers checks and money belts. What happened to travelers checks and money belts? There's got to be something in that now, like a cartoon or something. Travelers checks and money. What are the new money belts? What are we doing?
Well, I mean,
Are people even using bum bags and fanny packs?
I refuse to say. Okay, so what are your
my
jokes? What are
actual
your two jokes?
Come on then. Okay, so this one is actually an interactive. Okay, so
It's not even a cartoon.
It is a cartoon. It's a cartoon. It's in a I guess an ICU unit or like a hospital. I guess hospital bed. There's the family
We've
surrounding.
had a lot of them lately.
Yeah,
Haven't
well, I think so. Yeah,
Because Ashka's been watching Grey's Anatomy, and then last
This
week
is
I
what
kind
it
of
is.
pitched a couple, and it
This is
kind of
what-
gets in your brain.
It got me thinking.
Yeah.
You mentioned Grey's Anatomy, and it got me thinking. And it's the teenage girl sitting next to grandma who's hooked up to all the machines. And I don't know if grandma's conscious or not. It'd be funnier, I think, if she is, so that she can hear what the millennial niece is saying. Like, I'm going to say it's a granddaughter or a niece or something. she's looking at the EKG machine. And I don't know if you've noticed this on an EKG machine, Scott, but every time the heart beats, the boop, boop, there's a little heart that pops up and then fades.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And that is identical to what happens when you double-click a post on Instagram. It's the exact same. It's a heart that then fades. It's the exact same thing. And I like the idea of it being a GIF, an animated GIF, right? It's all drawn, everything else is static, but the heart is just beeping and bleeping with the same thing as and then she's saying, "Oh my God, Grandma, you are getting so many likes right now." Or you're blowing up.
I was blowing up.
You're blowing up right now. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Whatever post this is you've got on here, because it's a screen, and that's all, screens are everything. And so, oh my God, Grandma, you're really blowing up right now. You're getting so many likes on this. It's just that.
I like that. It's something.
I just want to do a GIF. I just want to do an animated GIF.
I like that.
Because it's the exact same animation. It's this little boop. It's like
what filter is this? It's blowing up, or like.
What filter did you use?
Yeah, like she wants to use it for her own benefit.
Yeah. That sounds.
The selfishness.
Oh my God, how do I get this on mine?
Yeah.
You are blowing up right now, Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then what if this is me being grim? What if it's just eventually a flat line? And it's like, this is no good. I guess you're getting no more likes. Like this is
At least she died an influencer.
Oh, that's a high five, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that noise was. At least she died an influencer. That is a caption in itself that we can insert other like that's.
Oh, it's a Lemmings. It's a Lemmings joke.
Exactly. It is the least. Like an influencer is the. I just finished reading this book by Jaron Lanier. He wrote "You Are Not a Gadget." This manifesto.
Is that what you're doing instead of writing jokes? Cool. All right. I'm glad you had fun. Glad you had a nice week.
I just read a book.
I was out here sweating blood over this shit.
You're writing 47 jokes. And then he wrote this one saying 10 arguments for deleting all your social media, and one of them. Throughout the whole thing, he keeps talking about these obsessions about how influencers. He's like, you better start looking for something else because that's a finite thing. Influencers aren't a thing that's going to stick around.
Ashika and I were talking about it because she's in the world. Ashika works in fashion, and so as a result, there's all these kind of like. What's the word I'd use? This is kind of bottom feeders that are kind of on the periphery. There's people that are on the periphery of all kind of things that are interesting.
Okay.
And influencers are one of those. It's the people, they're not quite attractive enough to be models. They're not quite good enough writers to be writers.
Right.
They're not quite... And we're seeing that first generation being moved on.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated by what happens to them. Because there's someone younger, prettier... and cheaper, prepared to have their photo taken next to an exposed brick wall in Brooklyn, wearing your pants.
Exactly.
And so what happens to that person?
That's really interesting.
And only so many of them can become DJs at Sunglass Hut or wherever they end up.
Right.
And it's going to create this great existential crisis, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the people that have been looked at as they've been described as influencers, and now... they're fucking... It's cool uncle syndrome. It's the cool uncle who was the coolest guy when you were 10 years old. Yeah. Then when you turn 20 and you realise, oh, fuck, this guy still lives with his mum. And the reason he knows so much about Nintendo is because he's unemployed.
That's all he does.
And
it's sad. And these big YouTube conferences, the YouTube style conferences, there was a huge, I think it was like a New Yorker article about it a while back, about millions upon millions of people trying to get to these things, and they only have enough capacity for like 160,000, but they pack it out as like Comic-Con with these YouTube influencers. And then they do have the cool uncool syndrome, where the next year they're like, oh, who's that? Oh, he's so last year.
That's the thing.
The kids move on, they grow.
But, I mean, we've seen that in pop music forever.
Forever. Absolutely.
And the reason that we forget about that is because we forget about those people.
Yeah.
We remember the Beatles.
Totally. Yeah, that's
But the Dave Clark Five, who were a fucking great band, are rarely mentioned. And they were a really good act.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible example because I don't have any 60s one-hit wonder references to grab right now.
There's plenty of them.
Whereas... So for every Low gang,
there's
1,000 other people playing video games, and it is a fascinating phenomenon to me.
I'm obsessed with it. I'm honestly obsessed with it.
Particularly as two people that have really chosen the hard way to do what we do. Stand-up is the least respected art. Easily.
Right, like cartooning
To the point,
is not in a gallery. It's the same deal.
Cartoon is not. It's not in the thing. And we appreciate the people that like it. But if we walk in next to, the hip young artist that's living in the warehouse in Alphabet City, or the guy that's got the cool, you're just a fucking no one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's and the thing is, the really good artist and the really great guy, he understands, or she understands, oh no, we're all in this same thing together.
Right.
It's like what I was talking to you about, how footballers and comedians share this kind of bond.
Yeah.
Because what we do is inherently dumb.
Yeah.
It's completely unnecessary. But there's a certain bravery to it.
There
like
is.
I'm
Absurd bravery,
I'm always shocked and appalled when a comedian says something bad about another comedian in public.
Yeah, totally.
I cannot abide that.
Yeah.
Because there is a code that we all live by, that we're all a part of. And you're breaking that. And I can't stand it.
Anyway,
I think I've padded out that joke enough. What's your next one?
Very nice. All right, this next one's a shout, and it's
not even a cartoon.
It is.
You haven't had a single cartoon.
Cartoons. It's several cartoons. It counts for several.
We'll see.
It's and this is a fall cartoon. It's the Puffy Jacket Pocket Mystery Raffle.
Oh, I like that.
So when you put your puffy jacket on for the first time again, it's what's in there from last year.
That's great.
All right, so
That's
there's
great.
year-old chapstick.
Yeah.
There's one glove.
Yeah.
Hillary's emails. Broken Bodega iPhone charger. Like, there's the things you bought in the throes of winter just before it turned warm and you couldn't wear your puffy jacket anymore.
Hand warmers, brackets, still in packet.
Still in packet.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking. So, like, I want to generate, like, a list of all of these because I pitched this last year and I was too late. When I say I pitched it last year, I pitched the idea of verbally, and she was like, yeah, write it up and draw it for me, though, so I can see it. And so I was like, all right, I'll work on this. And I've literally just had it, like, in stasis.
Hanky monogrammed SJD. What's what is this?
DJT. So it's one of those ones that I really want to get some actual, maybe a balance between absurd and actual, but probably closer to like actual things that you'd find in your pocket.
It is one of those things. If they were all like Hillary's emails, the concept of happiness, a sunrise would be
a different joke.
It would be too silly. Yeah. But to throw in just one, just one. It's
I like the idea of it just as because we sold a cartoon that was seasonal to the New Yorker as a daily, and they never ran it because.
Well, now we've just got to switch it.
I did, and I sent it in. So I switched it, and I sent it in and go, "You're welcome." You can use this now when the weather changes. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that one.
Weather / Donald Trump watching the TV.
That's our entire back catalogue. One-hit wonders. Speaking of one-hit wonders. Okay, so the other one is, this is, I don't know, it's a bit weird. Trump he won't get out of his chair because he heard that a sitting president can't be indicted. It's silly. It's like, that's what I heard. I've been hearing.
I don't mind that.
It's silly.
I know. I like the idea of him. I like the idea of him misreading, kind of. Because it's the classic thing that you and I have had this conversation a million times where I've seen 2 episodes of Law and Order. I'm pretty sure in America, the victim can't actually press charges. It actually wants to. You know what I mean? It's based on just bullshit.
Right. It is. Yeah. There's just something about him and the world that he lives in, thinking that everything he reads, he takes literally. Because he's a fucking moron. And just, no, I heard that if I'm a sitting president.
I would like to distance myself from those comments. And also, just say very briefly to the Department of Homeland Security, I look forward to redoing my visa.
What have I done? Am I going to get stopped at JFK? Am I on a list now? Oh, boy. All right. And then lucky last of my...
Oh, already?
Yeah,
that's
already.
Funny.
Yeah, it's coming around. That came around.
Time flies when you're not writing jokes.
This fucking guy. You're like, I'm very sensitive and I never bust balls. Here we go.
Oh, no. I bust balls. I don't like having mine busted.
Oh, my God. Next time you're thin, I am going to hammer you into the ground.
They call me one-way street Dooley.
One-way street Dooley.
I like it. Like if we hang shit on each other, it's fine because we know the shorthand. when a stranger comes in and says something like mean about me or my family, like I'm just like, we're not friends. Fuck off.
Robert Kelly talks about this.
I don't need this.
Yeah. Bobby Kelly talks about this on his podcast. They bust balls on the podcast, all the comics, because it's a comic hang.
Yeah.
And then a stranger who listens to the show, like a fan or something, is like, hey, Bobby, you fat fuck. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I beg your fucking pardon. Like, really? We've never met.
I played. This is the fantastic podcast, Little Dum Dum Club. Have a listen to it. These guys have fucking opened up this door. Mm-hmm. I'm on their podcast as a guest. I'm not part of this thing where you're like, hey, Chando, fuck up. No, not me.
Yeah. They take that Chatto.
Scott is your friend. Be nice to Scott. Be nice to Scott. Be nice to Scott. Be nice to Scott.
Are you trying to start a chant on your own?
I started that chant. At New Year's Eve one year.
Yeah.
And now,
be nice to Scott.
Be nice to Scott. And now, if you're around the Hilltop Hoods and you go, be nice to Scott, it just starts the chant. Be nice to Scott.
Do they rap it? Do they get a beat behind it?
Be nice to Scott. That's a bit of crowd work.
Amazing. Okay, so the next one is a bunch of avocados watching a movie. They're sitting around a TV.
We are so close to selling an avocado game.
I can't wait till I can smell it. And but the avocados have just sort of browned. They're like, a day and a half old avocados.
Right.
And they've just sort of turned brown. So it's a color cartoon, which they do run sometimes, by the way, just for your information.
A GIF, a shout, a color cartoon. This is
really
the sum total of a week's work.
These are all the ideas.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Tune in next week for Scott Dooley and Ellis Rosen in Is There Something in This?
Was there something in that? Okay, so it's a bunch of browned avocados sitting around the TV watching, and they're watching the Hulk turn green, and they're like, I'll have what he's having.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that?
I don't. Is there...
I want what he's having.
Is there an implicit racism in that?
What?
Brown people wanting... I know, but I'm throwing...
Really?
I'm throwing this out at you.
I know. You're being devil's advocate, but it's avocados.
I
agree.
It's
not metaphorical.
No.
They're literally seeing a guy turn green from... And they're like, wow, I'd love to be able to turn green.
Is there something in the twist...
So jealous,
being... it's a husband and wife, like older husband and wife, empty nesters, avocados, watching the Hulk.
Yeah, okay.
And the wife is going, look how green he is. I should be so lucky, looking at the old husband.
Yeah, like it's a good-looking celebrity. And you're like, oh, nothing like you.
Hey, listen to this. I fucking bumped into the Hulk during the week.
Lou Ferrigno?
No, Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
I literally walked into him. I was walking into a cafe to buy.
Sorry, you walked into Mark Ruffalo.
I walked into him, and he kind of.
Did he look angry?
I gave him a look like he was wearing a hat like yours, a Yankee cap, and
that's how you know
he was walking out, and he was saying goodbye to this group of women that had obviously recognized him. And I realized this on reflection, and he was like, "Oh, hey, no, it was really nice to see you guys." And he's got. Mark Ruffalo has one of the best voices in Hollywood.
Oh, I love it.
He's got such a wonderful voice.
Big fan.
And he was walking out, but the door opened my way.
Okay, yeah.
So he had a bag, and I was like, I'll wait for it. And I started to walk in, and I saw him coming out. I said, I'm sorry, man. You go. And then I looked at him because I recognized him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is that... And you know what you did? Because I'm so... you know how bad I am with celebrities.
I do, yeah.
I was like... Oh, is that Tiffany's ex-boyfriend that I met at the barbecue? You do that kind of, you kind of cycle through.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. When your life flashes before your eyes?
Totally, yeah.
It's your body trying to recall every tough situation you were in and how you got out of it to try to do it again.
That's the theory.
That's the theory.
We've discussed this, yeah.
So I was like that, like, oh, where have I seen this person? And then I realized, oh, you're Mark Ruffalo.
Right.
And it took everything in my power not to be. They knew. Just
funny.
be the most beautiful piece of overacting in the last 10 years. Thanks very much to the rewatchables.
I'm ridiculous around celebrities, and I really just try and hold back and not do anything, except for that one time at the Comedy Cellar with Louie and Rock. But
yeah, you and I are so different.
Right,
I wouldn't been, oh, I'm leaving.
Of course.
What am I doing?
I was walking out of 9th Street Espresso a couple of weeks ago with Soph, and I walked past the guy from Office Space, the Indian guy.
Oh, yeah.
Nai Nanaja, that guy.
Yeah.
And I went, oh! And I didn't even think. I was watching myself do this from outside of my body. And I went, oh! And he went, yes, hello, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you must get that all the time.
All the time.
And I loved that film when it came out.
I was very good.
Big Mike Judge fan. And I just went, I hate that I did that. I hate that I did that.
A fresh-faced Jennifer Aniston rounded out the cast.
Chilies or flingers?
She was very good.
She was fantastic. Everyone was great.
She's always good, though. Like, you watch Friends, she's very good.
She's extremely good.
Yeah. And it's one of those things with Friends. I was watching Friends the other night, and they're all really good.
They are great, especially Matthew Perry.
Well,
he's my favorite.
See, this is the thing.
I mean, they're all
and
great.
And then Schwimmer's excellent, and Lisa Kudrow's
I still
really
laugh at
great.
it, and I'm like, I'm laughing. What is going on?
I can't watch it when I'm high because it stresses me out. Because
Really?
they're always in these tight binds.
Yeah, right. We spoke last week about the Poconos and me going out to the affair capital of, and one of our listeners, Ventorfertak on Instagram. She goes, love the pod. I made the mistake of going to the Poconos when I was first. That's never good.
I made the mistake
when I was first married. It was cheesy and run down back then. The punchline was there was a Girl Scout convention in the hotel. The poor waiter was mixing 30 chocolate milks at breakfast.
That's great.
And she goes, on the Pennsylvania affair capital, she goes, I was a waitress and I worked and I had an affair table. Like, there was an affair table hidden in the corner.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and she worked there. She always got, in her section, she always got the affair table. And she goes, she once saw a childhood friend, actually, in the middle of an affair at that table.
I'd love to know what
hadn't seen her for years and was like, and then I go, that's incredible. Please tell me everything. And she goes, the thing that upset me the most, consider this. This is the thing that upset her the most.
Right.
Was that they were drinking spring break straw margaritas instead of affair martinis.
Yeah.
On the menu, there was an affair martini.
That's great.
That was what upset her the most.
That's great.
Spring break straw margaritas.
There's nothing more adult than an affair. It's literally called adultery.
It is literally called adultery.
You are being an adult right now.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny that she was that upset about it. Anyway.
We should do some listener submissions.
Submissions, suggestions, thank you very much. This one's from Nicholas Weissman. Thank you, Nicholas. It's going, okay, got one for you. A couple at a drive-in movie. I don't know why. I just read these.
Every single person that sends a submission, I'm like, Nicholas Weissman, a nice accountant from Connecticut. He's probably on a yacht right now, thinking about his time in Nantucket. And then you start speaking, I'm like, nah, he's in a ute just outside Mildura.
I just turn him into a bushy.
Single person. All right, I got one for you. And it's always like under duress. They don't want it. Listen, I don't want to send this. You don't want to hear it.
You don't want to read it.
Fucking here, so let's just get it over with.
You're like, geez, there's an awful lot of suggestions from Geelong.
Yeah. All right, here's my suggestion. Gary Ablett taking a big grab. Underneath it says, suck on that Modra. Okay, thanks, mate.
There's something in that. There's definitely something in that. Thank you.
All our Adelaide listeners, hey, till they got to get fucked.
We're just going to start a flame war.
And I would just like to say right now, peace to our American listeners who have no idea what any of that just meant.
I have cartoonist friends who listen, who go, I want to have it on while I'm working, but I have to concentrate so hard on understanding you guys.
Julia Clare, who's a fantastic comedian from Boston, I once wrote something like... something about Australian football.
Yeah.
And Charlie Pickering wrote back, and it was something like, Pendles has to be close for the Brownlow.
Oh, what a sentence.
And then Charlie wrote back, Heppel's my pick. And then I wrote back, actually, you probably can't go past Gorn. And Julia wrote in, I have no idea what any of this means.
None of these words make any sense.
And many of them are not words.
Many of them aren't words, they're names. But none of them, you're absolutely right. None of that makes any sense.
She DM'd us and was like, seriously, you have to explain it. It's like, I can't, I'll see it again.
Oh my God, good choice.
Okay, sorry.
All right,
Nicholas
Weissman. Right, I got one for you, you fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. A couple at a drive-in movie theater, but they're millennials, where the screen is vertical.
Oh, I see.
What does that do to your brain? Because I just read it and I thought, oh, there's something else in that. Is it the EKG machine with the screen vertical? Is it something more important where the screen's vertical? What's a usual screen? Like a TV screen's vertical in the future.
Yeah.
You know, in like the bedroom, you got the bed with the TV at the end.
I actually had that as an idea for the tennis. When I was going through the tennis, whether you can get a special tennis TV, which is the shape of the court.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's not funny. It's just more like, that's the shape of a thing.
So that's LG. Okay.
I do like that idea.
Vertical screen.
The thing is, though, is that like people that do things in that format.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the Snapchat cinema.
Oh yeah. That's a little too literal.
It's a bit literal, but that's
yeah. I remember trying to sell...
maybe it's like the 8-second drive-in.
Oh, so like almost like Vine. I mean,
well,
RIP,
Snapchats are all...
Yeah. 8-second drive-in. Yeah, okay. You're more up on that stuff than me. Snapchat drive. Yeah, fuck. All right.
It's not a bad starting point. Yeah, I like it.
Thanks,
yeah,
Nicholas.
that's a good joke.
I want to marinate more on the vertical screen in another sort of setting kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like other vertical things that are traditionally horizontal being vertical. For that generation, that everything for them is on a vertical screen.
What if the sun's setting? There's nothing more traditional than the horizon as a horizontal perspective.
So the sun, the world.
The millennial Snapchat, Snapchat sunset. Or
interesting.
I got to get away from Snapchat, but yeah.
Yeah, I tried to sell Snapchat jokes to New Yorker, which was the Snapchat logo in a chair in a job interview, saying, "Where do you see yourself in 5 minutes?"
Yeah.
And
no, it wasn't. It was 7 seconds.
Was it 7 seconds? Yeah. Whatever it was. And they were like, "Oh, we just can't use a logo. You can't put that in there." So I was like, "Oh, crap. All right." The prints sell well though, which is fine. All right. Thanks, Nicholas. That's great. I think
that is a good joke. That's a good idea.
Wrestle with that. I like the drive-in too. I like the drive-in as a setting.
The drive-in is a good setting. Yeah.
I do like that. Yeah. ZTR4U said from last It's It. Thanks for using the acronym.
That's great. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, way to go.
Number 3. He's only up to number 3, episode 3.
Or she.
It's a guy. I've got his profile photo here. Sherpas with hipsters on their back climbing Everest. Do you remember back? We talked about that back in... It's a while back. Hipsters are sitting backwards.
It's funny how we flow through kind of ideas. Like we had a few mountainy kind of ideas there. Now we're kind of in surgery mode.
Totally. And next week, the tennis will go into something else. Yeah. I'll probably have some Paris jokes next week. We do it live from Paris.
They're relatable.
Yep. Very relatable. Was it French? No, I'm just pretentious. That was one of yours.
That was one when I was in Paris, yeah.
That's very funny. Okay, so it's hipsters on their back, Sherpas with hipsters on their back climbing Everest. Hipsters are sitting backwards, like i.e. looking downhill, like they're in an armchair sipping coffee. One says, "Ooh, cold coffee. My followers don't understand how I suffer for my art."
I don't mind.
Something like that. I don't know. Some situation where, it's a starting point.
Yeah.
He said, by the way, Surgeon's Block is great. Laughed out loud while running.
Sorry
People
about
listen
that.
to this while running.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I don't mind that idea.
Mm-hmm.
In his like... I'm just very conscious of not being like millennial bashy.
Yeah, I know
that kind of thing. And a lot
making
of our
fun of
jokes
people using their phones
are about
totally.
And about that thing.
The New Yorker, they tend to publish ones that aren't so much making fun, or they just make light of a normalized thing that we just do now, rather than going, "Isn't this bloody stupid? Everyone on their phone." It's more like, here's a fun little observation or whatever. It's funny because one of our listeners was like, "Oh, I guess Dools will be back in Australia for the new year because Action Bronson's appearing."
We had so many Action Bronsons performing in Australia.
Yeah.
Like, people telling us.
He goes, I go, oh, mate, no, he's getting married. And he goes, oh, well, he should just get married at the Maya Music Bowl.
But someone else suggested that Action Bronson should be the celebrant.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I love that as an idea.
That's great.
That's incredible. All right, that's all the suggestions for this week. Thank you for sending them in.
So, wait, you came here with no jokes. You haven't even read the suggestions.
I certainly don't.
If you hadn't brought beer, this would have been a completely wasted trip. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So I'm going to be away. I'm going away tomorrow, flying out tomorrow. Going to Amsterdam, then Paris, then London. I'm going to be in London for a bit. I'm going to see some cartoonists and some comedians and friends of mine over there. Some muso mates. It's going to be good fun. We'll still do a pod.
We're definitely going to pod. We're definitely going to pod.
Yeah, we're going to do.
And I'm going to have to go in and sell them, and that's going to be interesting.
You're going to love that.
And
so I'll pitch a batch this week.
Hey, should we go and smoke a cigarette?
Oh, you're a bad influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, righto. Yeah,
All right.
Come on.
Happy birthday.